Okay, everyone, welcome to another video where we are talking about global news. And this week, what's there to talk about on global? One of those quieter weeks. Not to say that it's completely quiet, but it is a quieter week. You guys are having a couple of new vision cards. You're having some weekly campaigns. Looks like some secret book quests and quest reruns. What do you got for quest reruns? Oh, you got a little bit of the interlude story and the return of the Admirable Prince. So that should be a fine little downtime week. You know, I'm sure that everybody is, this is, this period of time, post Nier, the initial Nier banners and post Final Fantasy X. I would say that the next 3 months are very kind of, well, slog is not exactly the word, but it's definitely more relaxed in terms of like what is coming to the game. And there are some spikes in terms of a few banners, but in terms of like really big events, that feel like massive, like Final Fantasy X and Nier was, I don't know. I mean, there could be a few surprises. I think that we might see some summer units show up on global, which could be really exciting. I think that there is obviously, the wait for FF7 and Black Witch Helena, which Black Witch Helena could be coming, what, 3 weeks time? So some people got some time for that, and then FF7 will be coming after. But anyway, we do want to talk about a couple of things, and I want to talk first of all, before we get to the obvious thing. I always do the, the obvious thing first, and it's like, well, I don't know. Do the no. And that's to do with this guy. You guys are getting the Glacial Bird raid. Now, obviously, this raid is coming because of Lord Mont coming to the game. Glacial is a ice elemental bird, meaning that you use fire attacks, and it's weak to slash. From my I was even able to use 2B on this raid. Even though it's an ice-based raid, she was still pretty darn good on the raid, but obviously not the best. Lord Mont is the best in slot for this. You could even throw in, for instance, Rain against this guy. Since I know that apparently people who watch these videos really like Rain, I will give Rain a solid recommendation on this. It's just like most slash teams, and you guys by now have enough slash characters. This should be a really easy raid. I don't think that the Glacial Bird is technically that difficult. The mini boss, or the mini raid, or the rare raid boss, is the Mini Dragon. Element is water, weak to pierce attacks and slash attacks. So yeah, you can use basically the same team on this guy, but 9S is considered one of the better ones. You can throw Landu in there if you've been playing the game for a long time. I don't think that this is like a really hard raid at all, except for a little bit of details about the Glacial Bird. Now, the Glacial Bird has a pretty good agility, has a decent spirit stat, but less for defense. That's kind of what opens Rain to this. Bonus units, you got, 2B, 9S, Lord Mont, obviously, and Gilgamesh, a slew of characters that you can end up taking to this raid, so it's totally fine. And yeah, just the bird is particularly weak only to slash, but if you really want to use other types of damage, anything other than like magic, its strongest resistance magic. It's got a fair amount of protection, and I don't remember it being like any kind of difficult to chain. I do think it is immune to slow, so you can't do that. But speaking, I remember it being just immune to basically all like time related stuff. But the big thing about this guy, he does have a particularly nasty ability that did proc quite a few times from my experience on multiple characters, which is he does have an AoE attack, a plus AoE attack, and it does have about 3 or 4 range on it. and that has 180% modifier, but the big thing is a 25% chance to inflict stop, and it doesn't feel like a 25%. It feels really, really high. This is not the counter boss you need to worry about. This is not an extremely dangerous boss or a really difficult boss to have a lot of good characters, although Lord Mont people, I think you guys have a distinct advantage here, but the big thing is stop. So if you can bring any characters or, potentially have any kind of immunity for against stop, that would definitely help. But it does happen, and it will sometimes, especially for, I think, mid-tier players who don't have as many options, it will just reduce your ability to actually get this done very effective. And yeah. The UR equipment is the Brigadine armor. I actually have a copy of because I did do this one back then. Here it is. It's just a nice piece of armor for physical units. As you can see, I haven't fully maxed it yet. Remember why. I don't know. Maybe I was just saving. Maybe I was low on books at the time. But yeah, it is. I think it's a totally fine raid. And all right, big thing to me though is always the vision cards and vision card banners, because the banners are, thing people want advice on, usually, or sometimes people just complain. But anyway, Phoenix is which is definitely the phonetics of that one. Phoenix is a vision card. I mean, like, you obviously know what's the big deal here. You're getting the Phoenix summon off of this. Party ability, you're just getting magic attack up, dexterity up, pierce attack up, and limited bestowed effect is max HP up and attack up as well. And we'll talk about Phoenix in a second here, but it does get a global upgrade for fire units of bestowed effects attack up. Now, I'm just going to talk about this first of all in two parts, the card and in terms of the units. So first of all, I don't think that this vision card is like groundbreaking in any way. I still feel like the fire element is pretty weak for the moment, at least for the current moment where globalers are. Like, I don't think that this card is really going to be absolutely massive. Summer, Ketone, and Rain are probably the two biggest units, and I feel like the global upgrade was just because, I mean, this vision card, short of getting the summon, just doesn't feel like you should be spending a ton of resources on it yet. Because it just doesn't, like, the fire element is not that strong at the moment. And even then, you have to remember, on the JP side, we did get a Laswell Shiva card, and I am fully expecting, especially with a fire elemental mage, for at least next week, a brand new fire elemental vision card that will be insanely strong. I don't think it'll be a summon card again, but I do think it will be a much better card than Phoenix. I mean, like, looking at Phoenix, essentially, I mean, you're getting it's magic resistance up, not magic attack up. That I'm sure somebody's already commented about that. But dexterity and pierce attack up. Like, honestly, everything about this vision card just feels like, I mean, it's designed essentially for Lord Mont. It could be used for Rain too. I mean, it could be used for any fire unit. I'm sure it will get its uses in the future. On the JP side, I have to say that its evaluation is higher just because we know already that we are getting a new fire elemental mage that'll probably benefit from some more magic attack resistance. And I think, yeah, I mean, if Zazin turns out, the new version of Zazin turns out to be fire, and it's just kind of hard to say, because while definitely Global will get stronger fire units in the future, I just don't think this is a card to rush on. I think you can go on potentially just getting the Gil banner and storing up the shards, or gold banner, and just storing up shards for the future, and not necessarily have to stress about this. Now, with that being said, there is also the summon to be considered. I do think that the summon is very strong. I mean, I have gotten this summon, and I have gotten the summon to 2-star so far. Haven't fully maxed it out, but I do run this on my Rain because I think that this is a really good defensive summon. It works very well for fire elemental heroes of all kinds. I mean, you get extra water resistance potentially. There's a lot of fire attack. There's HP up, defense up, ice killer accuracy, strike resistance, which I'm not overly in about. Magical creature killer, and some increasing critical evasion. It's essentially a really, really good tank summon, but I think it's also just a really good defensive esper. Any fire element character in the future who's just looking for potentially a defense boost against other enemies. And the effect is just really nice too, because there aren't a ton of healing summons in the game, and that makes Phoenix a little bit more unique. I mean, obviously there's Chocobo, which is a much easier to get one, and well, there's Christmas Moogle, but that's out of season right now. But you look at a maxed out 60% restore of HP for allies, which is a strong heal, big AoE, a diamond AoE, grants regen, decreases fire resistance for enemies. I think that the summon is potentially worth dropping 10k, especially if you got Lord Mont. I would say that that is a good reason to get this summon. And just get the card and don't worry about maxing it. I mean, it's a permanent in the card, or it's a permanent in the gacha pool card, so you never have to worry about it leaving. You never have to worry about it disappearing on you, and you can just pick up shards over a period. Max it in the future when it will have more value, because short of like Summer Keystone just getting her EX quicker on the global side, I don't see the fire element like picking up for the next 3 months. Based on what we know on the JP side, Dark is just much stronger. And the only real benefit is, I mean, the really biggest benefit you're either getting is Rain, who still has to wait 3 months for his EX, or Lord Mont right now, which I think you can buff magic resistance another number of adequate ways. And regardless, I don't really want to use Lord Mont against magic. I probably would rather just be using a little bit more of a specialist character, or getting Charlotte in the future. So yeah, that's all I really got to say, but it was enough to finish, or to fill out a over 10-minute video and you that. So yeah, I do think it is a good week if you got some extra lapis and it's not going to break the bank. Get the summon, and if not, just do the gold banners, because any number of shards you get is a potential savings when you eventually do get this vision card. And one other thing is, you can always think about, with the number of guaranteed banners that have like guaranteed vision cards off of it, getting like these Bahamut cards or anything like that into the future just becomes easier if you want to roll on that. Much better than usually rolling on the current banner. Like, if you wait a good number of vision cards, you could just end up going on one of those, hey, get 10 vision card banners with a potential reroll, and you're at least probably going to get something. Anyway, just a thought for how you should spend your reason. But anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time.